Hello, this is John Barton, JB Cases. So I'm here today to test out another claim from a thread on the internet. So a gentleman says, he says, my case is a 4x8. It had 4 butts and 8 shafts, went almost full except for the last butt. We would put it in, and because it was so tight, it made gouges in the butt. So that's what he's claiming. He says the case damaged his cue because the case is so tight. So this gentleman didn't inform me of this. First time I heard of it was a couple days ago in the course of this thread. So as I say to everybody, I say, look, I'm willing to try to duplicate the problem. If I can duplicate it and cause the same damage to my own cues, then of course I'm gonna replace the interior or replace the case or whatever needs to happen there. And of course I'm gonna pay for the refinish on the cue. But I have to try to be able to duplicate the problem. Ideally, I want the case that is in question, right? I want to see it, because if it's something we did wrong, I want to know about it, I want to find it. And if it's something that is wrong in the design, in my design, then I need to correct that and make sure that going forward that it's made better. If it's something that we did in the production that was just a brain fart or a bad sewing day or something like that, then of course I want to see that, and I want to make sure that we don't do that going forward. So this gentleman, however, sold the case to someone else. He says that he informed that other person of the problem, that no one else has come to me with this problem that I know of that's attached to this case. That was like over a year or so ago, I guess, according to the thread. And anyway, so I wanted to test it, okay? So here we're going to test, now the claim. So the claim was the case was almost full. He went to put the last butt into the case, and it gouged the cue. I don't know if he noticed it when it went in that it got damaged, in his opinion, or when he pulled it out, he saw damage and then assumed that it was the case. I don't know. All I'm going to do is test the claim right now with 3 different 4x8s from 3 different years. So the one of them is a permanent interior, one is brand new, and one is about a year or so old. Okay, so yeah, let's just jump right into it and we'll go to it. So starting with the brand new one, that's the brown one here in the middle. This is the brand new interior. So as you can see, I'll put it under the camera so you can see it. That is a 4x8, all full. I'll bring this up to the camera so you guys can see that there's nothing is touching in there. So no matter what angle we look at it, nothing is touching any other part at this moment. Okay, so the claim was that he had a 4x8 that was almost full. So this is almost full. This is 4 shafts and 7 butts right there. Let's look at the bottom of this cue. Make sure that it's good. Okay, so it looks like a little dust or whatever that is. Let's see, what's that? Yeah, that was like a little dirt on there. So here, I'll clean it off, and then we'll be clear that it's good. Okay, so this is a brand new cue made by Jacoby. It's the Thumper brake jump cue. And let's see. So we're going to take it, put it right there like that, and push it straight in. Okay, now I'm going to pull it straight out. Any damage? So there's nothing on there. Okay, so this time I'll use the Olivier. So you'll notice that the Olivier has a little crack right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can make it focus. Anyway, there's a little crack right here. I don't know if you can see that on camera. All right. So anyway, other than that, nothing. What is this? Let's see. All right, let's make sure that this is all nice and clean. As he showed me pictures, and he said that the damage came from the case, and it was a gouge, I'd say, or whatever. It was a gouge or a smudge or whatever that was probably about that long on there on the pictures he showed me. So as long as we're all clear that has nothing but that little spot right there, which didn't come from the case, came from me being an idiot, being unhappy that I missed a shot. All right, so putting that in here. So I've set it right there. See how it sits right at the hole right there. Now I'm going to wiggle it a little bit so it goes in. Okay, so now it's in. Now I'm just going to push it down with one finger. That's it. We're going to pull it up. It comes up straight like that. No damage anywhere. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now this is a used case. So the gentleman said that the case that he had was brand new. But anyway, this is a used 4.8 that I happen to have. So let's go ahead and put everything in there. This is an old one that I took in on warranty. Okay, I'm going to move these out so you can get it right under the camera there. Sorry, my head's probably in the way. I missed a hole here. Bad boy. 1, 2. There we go. Well, it's been a while since this has had Q's in it, but there we go. So this is the 4x8. There we go, get a little focused in there. So this one's about, I would say, 4 years old or so, at least 4 years old. All right, well, let's start with the Olivier. So that click that you heard, what that was all that was the Q's going out because of the foam padding, it coming up through the thickest parts, going out and then just releasing. It's like a 1/1300th of a second. So it does no damage whatsoever to the Q's. So that was going out. Now let me put it in. Okay, so right now it is not touching either side. So I'm going to wiggle it a little bit, put it in, and there we go. So let's pull it out one more time. I know this is a really unscientific way to do it. That was like a little dirt on there. Yeah, and I don't know if this is even in focus here or not, but there's nothing on here. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that as far as this goes, but there's nothing on there. And then, you know, if you just always want to be sure, you know, that there's nothing in the way, then just simply pull out a shaft first, or keep it out and then put it in last, see? Then you put it in like that, touches nothing, and there you go. All right, let's try the last one. So this one here is about, I would say about a year old. This one has the removable interior, as you can see. So you guys can see what that looks like up close, and you can see there's nothing in here that in any way is going to be pinching it or tight or anything on the cues like that. The only snug part of this case, the only really snug part is right here. It's just exactly about this deep right there and right here, because I just put a double amount of padding right in here just to have that extra protection right at the top and make sure that the cues don't have a lot of movement. So alrighty. So basically, let's try this now. So we're going to take all these out. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Okay. One, two, three, and four. One, two, three, four. There we go. All right, so again, the claim is case was almost full. So that's as almost full as it can get. And here we go again. So we'll use the Olivier again. And I'll use the Jacoby as well, the thumper. I'll use the thumper as well. So put it in. See the hole? Push. And then straight in. Okay, coming out. Just like that. So there's literally nothing in there that could make a long gouge in the case, in the cue like that. So I just don't know where to go with it. All right, well, let's try the thumper. Okay, so here's the thumper hole right there. So we put it in, push, nothing. Okay, we'll pull it out. Okay, so now, as much as I hate to do this, I guess I'll do it on this one. Let's see. I want to show you guys something. All right, so you see here how this hole is now restricted right there. See that? So that hole is now smushed and smaller than the diameter of this. So this is pretty beat up. So you guys can see this, hopefully. So hopefully you guys can see this is pretty beat up. There's a lot of dings, but there's no real long scrapes in there. So there's something right there that's pretty deep. Now I've had this cue for a while. This is pretty much the condition I got it in. I bought it used. But what I'm going to try to do is introduce a new scrape or a new, actually, you know what, I'll just do it with the thumper since we know that has nothing on it, right? And I hate to do this. You know what, I'm going to get a cheaper cue to do this with because I'm going to deliberately try to mess it up. So, let's see what I've got over here that I can do it with and not be too terribly upset. Okay, I guess the McDermott. All right. So this is a McDermott. So you guys can see there's no huge scratches on there. All right, so now we're going to try, and this is actually a little bit thicker too than the other one, but I'm going to put it in first, and I want to show you something. So you see if I go like this, if I just do that mindlessly, right, without paying attention, then yes, it can clack against other things. So if I'm pushing on it and I'm trying to find this hole and I'm just beating on it like this where I'm going against everything else, then yes, something can get damaged. See that? See what happened there while I was messing with it? I don't know if you guys can really see this. I should probably turn the light down so you can see it. Let me see. See the smudges or whatever that just happened right there now? Let's see how deep they really are. Okay, so after all that jamming that I just did, that's what we're looking at right here. See, almost all that came off. That's a little bit right there. Actually, that's even... So yeah, I'd say that right there is into the finish a little bit. But it's not a gouge. You can barely feel it. But anyway, the whole point of that is this, right? If I go do that, and I'm trying and I'm not paying attention, then that's what's going to happen. But if I just pay attention and I just find the hole, then there it is. There's nothing touching on either side of this. So I don't know if you guys can really see that from under there, but there's nothing touching on either side. So this is how the cue goes in. Just like that, and the hole where it goes. Pull it out, just like that. You know? Now, again, right, if I simply remove a shaft like that, now when I go to put it in, I can put it in just like that and put the shaft in right there in the hole where it goes, straight down, and everything's fine. So really, I'm going to have to chalk this up to user error. Now, the question you may have is it possible to design the case so that the cavities are further up so that it will... See, the thing is I designed these with the cavities lower so that it can accommodate longer cues and shorter cues. So the answer to your question would be yes, I can design it where we can have dividers that come further up where the cues absolutely zero, no chance ever, have any chance to ever touch each other and avoid user error. So I'm going to go ahead and develop a line of interiors for that reason. Even though there's no epidemic, people's cues aren't getting damaged, and especially not as it's being described. But even so, I'm going to go ahead and design the case so that it accomplishes both goals. It allows you to have longer cues and shorter cues in the same case, but be able to easily access your parts. So that's going to come in the next, the next month or so in the design phase. But for now, I just want to reassure everyone reading, and of course you guys already know this, the most of you, because you JB Case owners obviously are not flooding me with a lot of, hey, your case damaged my queue stories. And therefore, I don't have to do a lot of these videos trying to recreate what has happened or what has been claimed to have happened. But this is the promise that I make you guys, is that I'm always going to face up to whatever it is. And I'm going to try my best to replicate the problem. You know, it might hurt me if I ever am able to replicate the problem and I see, yeah, you know what, we screwed up, then it might hurt. I might have to spend $200 on a refinish or whatever it takes to make you whole. But the fact is that the next cases being made are going to have a fix. They're going to be better because of it. But on the flip side of it, I can't just accept your stories at face value. I can't. You know, no company would do that. Nobody is going to admit, without having tested out the offending product, they're not going to admit fault. They're not going to take the blame because there's just too many variables. There's just too many things going on for a company to just, on the face of it, just accept a story that their product damaged other stuff. And so that's why I test these out on my own stuff. That's why, you know, the way that we build the interiors now is a result of a lot of trial and error, more than you guys will ever see. I've got stacks, I've got boxes full of interiors and interior parts and parts of interiors that I've messed with, trying to get the combination of foam rubber and height just right. And like I said on a previous video, that doesn't mean, the way that it is right now doesn't mean I feel like it's perfect. It doesn't mean I feel like it's the best it's ever going to be. It's just at this moment the best that we've come up with until now. So it's not haphazardly made, and it's especially never made to damage anyone's queues. I will not deny that, you know, sometimes a queue maybe has gotten damaged inside of our case. But I will say this, that it is more on the user side, it has to be, than it is on the construction side. Because I've tested these things 6, 7, 20 ways from Sunday. I've tried really hard. I didn't do it on this video because I'm just not going crazy, you know, on it. But I have tried with other of our cases and in other videos, just stupidly, ridiculously over the top hard to try to harm the queue. And the queues that I have, the queues that I've tested, the queues that the customers have said were damaged, which I happen to also own a model or a brand of that, I have not been able to damage the queues in the way that they claimed the queues were damaged. So that for me is conclusive. Again, as I said, I can't ever say that a person didn't have a damaged queue in their hand and that they think that the case did it. I can't, you know, I'm never going to say the damage didn't happen. I'm just going to say that, in my opinion, as a case maker, as a real case maker, and I don't mean somebody who just has cases made in a factory somewhere and imports them, and as someone who knows every inch of his product, every inch, every millimeter, as someone who knows every millimeter of his product and the way that it actually is designed and works, it's unlikely that this case will damage your queue. So that's what we're left with. But as I said, and I'll repeat it one last time, if you as a customer have any problem, please come to me with the problem so I can look at it and try to help you solve it. If your only intention by coming to me is to get my absolute agreement that my case damaged your queue, then it's going to have to be proven. Because there's just too many other things that can damage a queue. And and my case is not built to be one of them. So for it to damage a queue based on the construction of the case would be way outside the norm for that to happen. So that's it. That's JB Cases for you for today, and that's the links that we go to on the structural side, to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And you can bet that when you buy a brand new case from us, that case is going to be built to the highest possible standards, the best possible methods that we have been able to attain to that date. We don't cut corners. We know every inch of our case. We know exactly how it's built. And I am highly embarrassed when we do something wrong, when something's not right. So I don't like to be embarrassed. And but that's not the main reason why I want it to be right. I want it to be right because I am also a customer. The reason I got into this business is because my queue fell out of my case, not a JB case. It fell out of the case that I purchased, and I didn't think that it should do that. So my queue was broken when the case did not do what I thought it should do, which was retain the queue until I put my hands on it and took the queue out. So based on that, that's our foundation. And that's the promise I make to you, is that I'm always going to build the case to the highest protective state that is technically possible for me to do it within my means and my resources. And that's really all I can do for you guys. So, and I will take every claim absolutely seriously. It doesn't mean I won't agree. It doesn't mean I will agree with you, but I will absolutely take it seriously. And I will absolutely evaluate every single claim. So there you go. Thank you guys very much, and take care. And remember, if you don't want to build it yourself, call us and we'll sell you the interior at least. No, I'm just kidding. If you don't want to build the interior yourself. But if you don't want to build it yourself, jbcases.com. We are a custom case maker, and we have the widest range of customization that I have seen so far. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.